All right, welcome to Falcon Blues TV, and I have a very special guest this afternoon, TalkSport host and Brentford fan, of course, Natalie Sawyer. Natalie, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
Pleasure, Dave. Pleasure. Great to be with you. I'm looking forward to an interesting game at the weekend.
Yeah, I was just going to say before we start, it makes a change this time actually having an interview with you and not Sunday 6:30 in the morning and having to get up. So this is a breath of fresh air, this one, I must say.
We're a bit more awake for this one then.
Yeah, definitely. So at the moment, Brentford are doing great at the moment, looking at 12 unbeaten, looking for the 13th unbeaten in a row. Everton just looking to stay unbeaten in March. How have you enjoyed? I think you've enjoyed a lot of the games this season, a lot of the results, and just how well Brentford are doing at the moment.
Yeah, it's been quite an incredible season, really, so far. It's in a weird way, it's difficult to put it into words because it's so unexpected, especially some of the results we've had as well. You know, to beat Man United like we did early on this season, and then beat Man City at Man City, beat Liverpool as well. You know, we've had some cracking results and results that haven't been lucky results. They've been thoroughly deserved. So right now, as Brentford fans, I think we're enjoying the ride. We're knowing that things could change in a moment because we're still not seen as a team that should be rightfully challenging at the top end like we're trying to do. But it's been fantastic and I'm loving it. Though I say that with the caveat of Monday night was probably one of the most nervous I've been when I went to the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford took on Fulham, obviously being a derby and everything like that. I was incredibly nervous about that game.
But you come out of it unscathed, so that's what you needed, really, isn't it? So, and that's taking you to 12 unbeaten, which is superb.
Absolutely. And it was a funny game because we started so brightly, and my goodness, you know, we should have been 2-0, 3-0 up within about 5 minutes. It was ridiculous the amount of chances we had. But then we scored the goal very early on and then sort of retreated, which annoyed me. I was getting really frustrated. I felt like we were allowing Fulham back into the game. And then they scored the equaliser just before half-time. But then second half, we came out pretty strong. So in the end, got the victory. And as you say, on this unbeaten run, which we're all enjoying. And looking forward to the trip to Goodison now.
Good stuff. So with the results going your way and everything, do you actually think you could make a European finish? Given Newcastle have slipped a little bit, and Chelsea aren't up to much at the moment, and there's results within this league going so all over the place. You just don't know what results you're going to get at the weekend. But do you think you could possibly do it?
But you're right to say that about, you just don't know what to predict with most of the games this season. It's so unpredictable, which makes it fascinating and exciting. Do I think we'll get into Europe? Well, we've got we've got a tough run in. We've still got to go to Chelsea. We've still got to go to Liverpool. Man City is our final game of the season, so they've got to come to us. We've got to go to Spurs. Okay, some of these teams might not be in the best of form, like Spurs, for example, but they're more than capable on their day to turn it on. So I think we've got a really tricky run, and we've still got to go to Old Trafford as well, I should say, and that's turned into a bit of a fortress. So if I'm looking at the fixtures, I'm a little bit worried about actually would we be able to finish in the sort of European places, just because I think we've got a tricky end to this season. But then again, I wasn't expecting us to beat Man City. I wasn't expecting us to beat Man United and Liverpool like we did as well. So you never know. It's so unpredictable this season. You never know. But I would just be happy with a top 10 finish because I think we would deserve that anyway.
Is that the dream then, the European spot? Or is it just to think, okay, let's settle for mid-table now and then push on next season?
In a weird way, and I know it sounds a bit silly, I'm sure the club probably would rather just have a top 10 finish and not in the European place, because once you get into Europe, you then have to really strengthen your squad. You really are going to have to go bigger with what you've got. And we're not a team that wants to bring in a whole load of players. We're not like that. That's not what we do. So I think they'd rather we do it slowly. I know that's the aim. The long-term aim of the owner has always been to challenge for Europe in the Premier League. One, to stabilise and then challenge. And I think it makes sense for me, even though I would love to pack my bags and be on a European journey next season. Yeah. And if it happens, I'll be doing it. I think it just makes more sense for us to just, take it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that brings me on to the next question, really. With the likes of there's investment going on all throughout the Premier League. Everton, for one, looking at new investments, possibly a new takeover. Spurs the same. We look at Chelsea, who've been taken over last season at the start of this season. Do you think that Brentford fans might be looking at, well, why not us? Where's the opportunity for us? I know your chairman and your owner have had an absolute, an amazing run from, lower league straight to the Premier League, and you've done that on as so much as shoestring. But you almost think like, well, where's the investment coming for Brentford? Can we do something? Can we bring someone in who can push us onto that next level? Do you think?
Yeah. There is that sort of element of bias, isn't there? That you think, well, hang on, why are you investing in a Bournemouth, or why are you investing in, like you mentioned, some of the other clubs as well? No disrespect to Bournemouth at all, and that it's just, you'd sort of think a London club is, maybe you have to spend a bit more money to invest in a London club, but you do sometimes think that there is that sort of desire maybe of putting money into a London club. But equally, I don't know if our owner wants that as of yet, really. I think he, everything, all the success that we're having right now is down to him and the money that he's put in. And he's put an extraordinary amount of money, even the new stadium that we've got, it's all down to him, really. So whether he would want, someone alongside him, I'm not sure as of yet. But there might come a time where that has to happen if we want to kick on and challenge for Europe more regularly. So, I do sometimes think, what's wrong with our little old club? But equally, maybe that's the charm of us, and that we don't need it as of yet. And as of, we're doing well at the moment. So do we really need to worry about it just yet?
Yeah, I suppose it's something you don't want to be tainted with it in that sense that, you're bringing in a new owner that doesn't probably understand the club, a little similar to Everton. It doesn't really get what the fans want and stuff like that. So
and we're a club that's done it, and it's like, it's well spoken about by all those that work within the club. We like to do things differently. We know we can't outspend opponents because we don't have that money, but that's why we have this Moneyball system that everyone likes to refer to with Brentford, which isn't just based on stats. There is a lot more to it than just that, but that's why they have this system where they can try and scour leagues across the world as such to find the little gems that we think will fit into our team and be part of our progress.
Brilliant. So looking at the weekend ahead, then we've got obviously coming to Goodison Park. The big one for Evertonians, and probably for most of the Premier League at the moment, is asking the question of, and sorry if I do mention it, about Ivan Toney. Whether obviously he's admitted to the accusations and stuff like that, but hasn't been. I think a lot of clubs are going to be like, well, why hasn't he been suspended by the club? Why hasn't he been suspended by the FA? What's your take on it? Because obviously, if he's scoring goals for you, I suppose you don't really matter, or don't really mind whether he's there.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I completely see where other teams are coming from. And I'm sure if it was the other way around, I'd be asking the same questions. But equally, we're clearly following the right protocols, because otherwise he would be banned, obviously. There are charges he has admitted. So I can see why people are thinking, well, should he not be banned as a result of that? But they can't ban him until the whole hearing has come to a conclusion. And he is contesting some of them. So that's why we're in this situation where he is allowed to play, because they don't know how long to ban him for. And like I say, I totally understand other outsiders' points of view, but from a Brentford perspective, we're absolutely delighted that he's still able to play. We're expecting he'll get a ban at some point this season. When that kicks in, I don't know. But that is the protocol system, and that is why he is allowed to play, because how can you ban him when there are still other charges hanging over him that need to be defended or, found guilty with him? And then that's why they can't ban him, because they don't know how long to ban him for.
No, fair enough. Okay, so looking at Everton then, it's now been about 6-7 weeks since we sacked Frank Lampard. And we were just talking just before we started. You said you don't really know what to make of this Everton side at the moment. I don't as well,
No, it's obviously when you bring in someone like Sean Dyche, there's an assumption that it's going to be not the prettiest of football. It's going to be a low block. It's going to be frustrating for opponents. That's what you assume with Sean Dyche. I'm sure it is at times like that still, but I just don't know because it's still early on, really, under his reign at Everton. So I'm a bit like I just don't know what to expect from them. You know, when Frank Lampard took over, and I was at the first game that Frank Lampard was in charge of because it was Brentford in the cup, and that team, that performance by Everton, I remember thinking, wow, if they play like that for the rest of the season, they're going to do really well, because it was so. The way that you zip the ball about, and we just didn't know what to do. It completely flummoxed us. And obviously things went totally wrong for Frank Lampard in the end. And yeah, so like I said, I'm not entirely sure what to expect from Sean Dyche's Everton. I'm looking forward to kind of being there and seeing it in person, really. Obviously, there was an exciting game last time out of Forest where you scored goals. I mean, that's your biggest problem, isn't it? Goals, but you scored 2, so that's something. Yeah. So yeah, I honestly don't know what to expect.
I think we've got Frank Lampard's, isn't not him, Sean Dyche's press conference at 1:30. I think we're still waiting on the details of the fitness of Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
If we find out that Calvert-Lewin is still going to be out, do you think Everton have got enough to stay up?
Well, the problem is, even with Calvert-Lewin fit, I don't know, because he's just not the Calvert-Lewin of, a few seasons ago, unfortunately. I have a real soft spot for Everton, maybe because of my connections at the club. I've got friends there and long-term friends. So I've got a real soft spot for them. So I don't want them to go down. I love the fans. I think they're one of the best in the country. I mean, actually, the Everton game at Brentford, I think you were the best fans there. The way that you just outsung, you've outsung every fan base that have come there. But I do worry. I do worry about goals in your team. I'm fond of Neil Maupay because he used to play for us, but he's not really done it for you. And he's a very different striker to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So if you're going to be playing to the strengths of Calvert-Lewin, well, you can't do that with Maupay, for example. You brought in some really exciting players in the summer. Dwight McNeil, as we know, James Tarkowski, I thought was brilliant at the start. Connor Cody, likewise. Things have just dropped off a lot, haven't they, really, for Everton? It's just a real inconsistency to them.
That's it. Okay, so what we'll do then is score prediction. I know you're at the game tomorrow on Saturday. So
what am I going to say? It's really hard. I mean, obviously my heart goes Brentford, and I think if we can get off to a fast start and break you down, then I think we could do well in this game. But I want us to come out with a strong start, just to impose ourselves upon you, which you're going to have to do against us as well. I think it'll be hard to break you down. I really do, but I think we're more than capable of doing that. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Brentford win.
Fair enough. I expect that from the opposition. I can't say, well, you're going to say Everton are going to win. So
Yeah, no, I don't know, because also when I was at the league game last season, which obviously at that point, if you'd won that game, you'd have secured your status in the Premier League, which I know obviously you went on to do against Palace. But that first, I would say, 5-10 minutes of the game, that environment was the most hostile I've ever experienced as an away fan. So I'm fully expecting that'll be similar, and I'll be a little bit scared because of that. But, what I will say, and I shouldn't really give you tips, but if it doesn't go to plan at the start, keep supporting the team, because I did notice in that game that things soured and it turned on the Everton team, when really, if you just keep supporting Everton, they will come through at some stage. And I still think, even though you've had this battle in the relegation zone, there's something about you. You've got a knack of getting yourselves out of trouble. So I'm sure you'll be all right this season.
Yeah, I think the fans are more behind the team than they are the board. Obviously, we know about the situation going on as well. So I think this time, we've noticed it in the last couple of games. It hasn't been horrible. I think the Aston Villa game was a bit nasty because of the result, just the way the game went against us in the end. But other than that, I think the fans are fully behind the team now. With the board not being there and not being in attendance and things like that, I think that puts us in a better position where we can concentrate on the team more. So that does help us. My prediction, though, I think we've got to score first. I think if we don't score first, then we're chasing the game and it just doesn't happen for us. So we need a win. I need to win more than anything. I'll go for the 1-0, scrappy 1-0. And backs to the wall for Everton.
If that's how it comes about, then that's how it comes about. The good thing also I'll say is that relegation battle, Dave, is so tight. It's ridiculous how tight it is. No one is out of it as of yet. And, you know, what is it? Goal difference is the only reason you're in the bottom three. So, so it's mad to think that how many teams have been struggling this season, and yet it's still ridiculously tight. So, you know, one win changes everything. And you are more than capable of making it difficult for us, certainly.
Well, let's hope so then. Well, I know. So you're at the game on Saturday as well with our good friend Jim. Jim hasn't been too good for a while, so we wish him all the best as well. Speedy recovery to Jim.
Love him. Yeah. Absolutely.
So we'll wrap it up then, Natalie. I appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with us. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. You too, Natalie, as well. And let us know your comments. You know, what are your thoughts on Brentford? What are your thoughts on the game in hand on Saturday? And so speak to you all soon. Up the toffees, Colin Chong and everything. Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you.